What's up, guys? This video is sponsored by the Beard Club. So, as you guys know, I have a little bald spot. It's not very little, it's kind of a big bald spot in my beard, and I partnered with the Beard Club to help regrow that patch. So they sent me a growth kit. I've been using the derma roller, I got growth oil, I got the vitamins with the biotin in it. I am doing everything I can to get this thing to grow back in. My hair feels better from the biotin. I really like the vitamins. I've been taking those every day, so highly recommend checking out the growth kit from the Beard Club. And go use FNG Academy to get a discount code on it because money's hard to come by, and discounts are always awesome. Also, the derma roller, did a little research, and it turns out these things actually work. So, if I'm being honest, I used a little bit of it up here. I don't know if you're supposed to, but yeah, I did it. So, we'll see if it comes back in. Get a little extra hair growth coming in the top and the bottom. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, go check out the Beard Club. Use code FNG Academy for that discount, 15% off, which is awesome because money's hard to come by. Don't waste it. We'll see you guys in the video. All right, guys, welcome to this episode of Beers and Breakdowns. In this episode, we're doing the Pacific.
Yes.
Something you guys asked about a ton. Just so you guys know, if you like, we're going to be editing this. If you want the unedited version, go up to the FNGacademy.com, sign up for Tier 3. Tier 1 is one-on-one coaching from Green Berets. Tier 2 is group session coaching with Green Berets. Tier 3 is exclusive content to include Beers and Breakdowns Uncensored. We also have the new Carl G line shop dropping, which is going to be a whole tools of the trade line. All the tools that we use as special operations, the M4, dip can charges, claymores, 60 millimeter mortars, all kinds of cool stuff. They're going to come with, each one's going to have its own patch that you can also purchase, a PVC patch that coincides with the shirt itself. Yep. So you can represent your shirt on your backpack, your gear, whatever. They're bad. So go check that out, the FNGacademy.com. The ruck trainer is also dropping soon. The waistband for the Molly 2 rucksack is going to be dropping. We just did the Baton Death March. Kurt and I did the half to test out the ruck trainer and to get a chance to meet some of you guys and pay our respects to the POWs that had to do that march. The full, we just weren't up to the task, so we cut out a little early. Yes, and my knee feels like I didn't cut out a little early because it hurts like a... So, hope you guys enjoy that. We'll drop some content on the Baton Death March, but it was awesome getting to meet some of you guys there. So, thank you guys for those of you who said what's up to us, and it was a pleasure to meet you. Let's jump into the Pacific. We hope you enjoy. If you enjoyed, do us a solid, please. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you don't like it, leave a comment on why you don't. I promise you, it helps us more than you know. If you like and subscribe, Kurt will shave his head. Yeah!
We didn't agree to this.
Join them in prayers for peace on earth and goodwill toward all men. And then report back here, ready to sail across God's vast ocean, where we will meet our enemy. Merry Christmas. Happy 1942.
Yeah, kid. Carry on.
It's motivating.
Oof.
And it's real.
Dude, it's crazy because we watched All Quiet on the Western Front from the German perspective, and all I saw was an old man manipulating young men.
Propaganda.
Yep. And now I watch it from the Americans' perspective, and I see an old man talking to young men, hyping them up, and all of a sudden all I feel is a sense of pride and courage, and it's like, it just shows that patriotism is everything.
One difference I saw between All Quiet on the Western Front and this, though, is All Quiet on the Western Front, you had a guy talking to a bunch of brand new recruits, and he's just selling them on this pipe dream. Like, you're going off on an adventure.
I'll see you back soon.
Exactly. You're going to come right back. Here, he's like, hey, you guys are NCOs. This guy understands. I didn't look at his rank, but I'm assuming he's an officer. But he understands that, as we say in the military, in the U.S. military, NCOs are the backbone of the Army, right? So you're not getting anything accomplished without strong NCOs. So what I see on this one is he's talking to them, but he's almost being more realistic with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? He's not flat out saying, like, you guys are going to go over there and die. Like, he says, we're going to go kill the enemy. We're going to kill them all. But to me, it's more somber, and it's more like, we need you guys to go out and now lead these men to success. And I don't know, it almost seems like he's not selling them on a pipe dream so much as the other show was.
And he said if you're lucky enough to get home, he's like, but if you're lucky enough to get home, it's like you're committing to this to potentially the end and possibly the end for a lot of you, likely the end for a lot of you. Another thing I like is that the Marines, everyone talks about Marines, crown eaters, it's real funny to talk about Marines. What I love about Marines is that they create a community of shooters. Everyone is a shooter. In the Army, everyone's this job or that job. We have, you know, you do this, you do that, and it's like we don't create an environment of shooters first, and then your secondary MOS is whatever MOS you chose. The Marines are hands down, you are a shooter first.
You're a rifleman first.
You're a rifleman, you are a getter, you're there to kill the enemy, and you are brave, you're courageous, you're fit. Even in the, dude, all honesty, when we were on the Bataan Death March, there was 3 Marines marching, and one of them, you know, normal-looking dude, fit, a female that was probably 5 foot tall tops, and then another dude that was like 6 foot, and everyone else is joking. They got music on. Those Marines were stone-faced. That 5 foot tall, I think they were all. One was a first sergeant. She was a first sergeant.
Something like that.
And from what I understand, that's a hard rank to get in the Marines. And I think I couldn't recognize his rank because he didn't have it on his backpack, but the 2 first sergeants did. They were stone-faced, serious, like attacking. They were attacking that ruck with a seriousness that almost nobody else had, and that's something that the Marines breed into their people. Is like, it doesn't matter your job. First, you're shooters. Be fit, be strong, be aggressive, and be ready.
It's all about esprit de corps, as they say. Like, how many Marines do you see with Marine Corps tattoos? The eagle, globe, and anchor, right? How many people do you see with Army tattoos? Not as many.
Not really.
Like, the Marine Corps is like, that is one of those where, like, it's a brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever, like, through and through, for sure. Way more, probably, way more than the Army as a whole.
Yeah, the Army almost has to, we have it within special operations, but not as much within the overall community. The Marine Corps does a great job at letting people know that you're shooters.
But it's also a lot smaller, so they're able to do that. You know, Army's so big, it's hard to have that sense of community.
That's it, Dad. I gotta go. Goodbye, son.
That scene was a little strange for me. Like, I could see him struggling so much, wanting his dad's approval, and like wanting his dad to be proud that he signed up and he's going. I don't know if it's because my dad wasn't part of my life or what, but I don't understand the need for that father approval.
Yeah, it probably is your upbringing. What I got from this was I saw a struggle on both sides, right? So for him, he wants his dad's approval. And from the other side, the dad doesn't know how to show his affection and like love for his son. So he's like trying to fill himself. He's like, oh, I gotta, look under the car and all this, trying to just like
distract
himself. Yeah. And then you see like that look in the eyes and then like a handshake. And it's, I don't know. I see it as being tough on both sides there.
Yeah, I just don't. If you know what you're doing is good and you're proud of yourself, be proud of yourself. You don't need another man, regardless if it's your father or not, to show you that pride.
Yeah. Well, it's also tough because like he knows he's going to war and there's a good chance he might not come back.
Yeah.
So.
I guess that would change it. Is where it's like you want your dad to acknowledge the fact that this may be the last time.
Yeah.
And to maybe get something emotional across, given the circumstances, and the fact that instead he chooses to not still. In the most, potentially the last time you're going to talk, you still choose to not say anything emotional.
You could tell his dad probably has not been able to show affection his entire life.
Right.
And he was like, maybe now's the chance. And nothing.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people still deal with that. We still get questions on the FNG Academy about, hey, my parents don't approve, or they don't think this is good, or they're not proud of what I'm doing, but I feel this is right. And it's like, my disconnection from my parents has caused me to just focus on doing what I believe is right And as long as I feel it's for the right reasons, I'm proud of why I'm doing it, and I could be proud of myself.
Yeah.
Which
We've had people in the mentorship program that didn't, they were going through like to the point where they were already speaking with recruiters and everything, but they hadn't said anything to their parents because they knew their parents were not military supporters. Which is something that I really identified with because my mom was the same way. When I joined up in the military, I remember I had already enlisted. I didn't tell my mom at all. And then when I told her that I had enlisted, she was like, well, you just had a kid. What are you doing with your life? To the point where she stopped talking to me for months. And I remember she actually she sent me an email saying like how it was very difficult for her. She didn't understand my decision because of all these reasons, right? I was, I just had a kid. I had a decent job or whatever, and she didn't understand these reasons. And so it seriously was probably 2 months or so she went without talking to me. And then what's so crazy is after all that happened, she became like my biggest fan to the point where my mom has a special or first group flash tattooed. I came home one time and I'm like, what is on your arm? And she had a first group flash tattooed on her arm. And I'm just like, to this day, her truck still has an SF Crest sticker on the back.
Hell yeah.
And so it's like, and that's why I tell people, it's like, maybe they might not understand now, but as long as you're able to
Follow
kind
your
of,
heart.
exactly, they see that you're doing something for yourself, something that you want to do, and that you're proud of what you're doing, they likely will come around, at least in my experience. So,
and me and you are similar in personality, that we're not the typical SF guys. We're not the super alpha male. We're cooler than you. We're tough guys. We're more the jokesters, kind of go with the flow, try to stay go-lucky, happy all the time. So I could see where your mom's perspective was looking at you like, are you sure? Like, this doesn't fit you.
yeah.
But now that I know your mom, she is your biggest supporter. I couldn't imagine her like not supporting you because she is your biggest fan.
Yeah.
And all I see from her is this pride.
Right, yeah.
But that's cool to know that she had to go through this transition period because you weren't the type that you would just look at and say, oh yeah, you're going to be good in the military. Because that's not who you are. You're goofy, you're fun.
Right.
And I like to think myself is very similar. And so maybe it was easier for me not having that parental connection to where I didn't have to hurt anyone's feelings. All I knew is all I only had to do was follow my own heart. But you had this, your mom, this like pressure to make her proud, and now you let her down for a while.
Yeah.
And so you had to fight through that.
And what's important and what I always tell people is like kind of what you just alluded to. It's like you have to follow your heart. Like it's your life. You only get one shot at it. Do what's going to make you happy. If there's something that, for me, like I had this immense, like as corny as it sounds, like Call of Duty, right? So I can't tell you like how many years it was I would go to bed thinking about being in the military and then wake up thinking about being in the military. It's all that consumed my mind. That's why I became such a big fan of like Pacific, Band of Brothers, and just could not consume enough about the military. Was because for me it was like it became like a huge obsession. So I knew it was right for me. So no matter what everybody else thought, I had to do it for me.
I just thought that was cool. They stumbled upon a forward observation post for the enemy.
Yeah.
It's like they were living there. They had camp set up. There's fire, dug in positions, and then as soon as the enemy, the Americans get there, they're gone.
Yeah.
So obviously it was like 3 people living there tops.
Clearly they left in a hurry. Like their
Right.
bowls of food are still half eaten.
Yeah.
And so for these guys though, imagine that. Like this is kind of like their first like interaction with the enemy. So you're like, there's people somewhere out there.
Yep.
Like, this is becoming real at this point.
Right.
And you know that they just left. So they're probably, there's a good chance they're looking at you right now the same way you're looking out, hoping you see them.
Because at this point, they stormed the beaches expecting like a Beaches of Normandy confrontation, and there was no confrontation. So up until this point, they really haven't even seen the enemy. So you know how the military is. Sometimes you just get the wrong spot and then you never get any contact. It's luck of the draw. So they're maybe at this point expecting that maybe they just got a part of the mission that's not going to take contact.
Yeah.
And it just hit them like, oh, the enemy is here.
Yep.
And like you said, they could be anywhere out in this tree line that we can't see anything. So this is when the reality starts setting in. It's like they're not going to have a forward observation post not for a main unit.
Yeah.
So there is a main unit somewhere ready to take that out.
So now it's like, how many more steps until we take contact?
Exactly. Where's the main force at?
Their are this tight right now.
Yeah, those 4 guys were there to alert the main forces where you were, your positions, your numbers, all that stuff, your capabilities. They're taking notes on you, just like we watched in the other show where they're drawing maps.
Yeah.
The enemy's drawing maps of you, and you just realized it.
Yep.
That's terrifying.
Now you're like, am I the hunter or the hunted?
Exactly.
And that's a scary feeling.
And you're not going to find out until it's too late, and you just got to hope that you have superiority. I just thought that was good tactics, small unit tactics. SEALs. Stop, look, listen, smell. They heard a crack in the woods. Everybody takes a knee. Quiet. Nobody makes a sound. It doesn't even take like a hand signal. Even though, what was the hand signal for SEALs? Was it this one or was it this one?
Well,
No,
that
this
was
is OP.
rally point.
That's rally point? No. Rally point, and then you point to it.
Yeah.
And then,
This was...
isn't this one SEALs?
No, I think it was just like halt or something. I don't remember. It's been
No,
too long,
halt's
man.
this.
Right.
I think this is SEALs.
It might have been.
Yeah,
It might have been.
I think tapping your head is SEALs. Either way, whatever your SOPs are, but stop, look, listen, smell is huge. You're stopping because obviously you don't want to create more movement. You're listening for enemy movement, like they heard that crack initially, and you're listening for any footsteps, anything like ruffling. When you're perfectly quiet, your enemy literally can't move without being detected.
Yeah.
So you could stay there for as long as you want. You don't have to do SEALs for only 1 minute and then get up. If you really think there's someone out there, do SEALs for an hour.
Right.
If it takes sitting there for an hour, then sit there for an hour.
Just wait them out.
Just wait them out. And then stop, look, listen, and then smell. The smell is BO, fires that they just put out recently.
Poop.
You poop urine from large movements going to the bathroom is obviously going to create a scent. Something is going to be in the air.
Yeah.
It's crazy that when you're in the woods or when you're in this kind of open environments, that nature is so common that human beings are so easily detected. You almost become like animal instincts.
Big one for Americans that people don't really think about is like chewing tobacco and dip. Like you'd be surprised, bubble gum you'd be surprised how far that scent can actually travel.
Yeah, when it's multiple people doing it.
Yeah, and as soon as you stop and everything is calm, you're able to pick up on these things.
Right.
Like a lot more than you would expect. So it's SEALs.
Yeah. SEALs is huge.
It's a big thing.
There's so much makes sense about nature. The way the air smells clean, like trees, the way the birds are chirping.
Yep.
If birds are chirping.
Yep. If they
stop,
all of a sudden take off and fly,
all that stuff your senses just start to hone in when you do SEALs. And obviously if you're performing SEALs, your adrenaline is going up. So you get this heightened sense of awareness too. So SEALs, it just blows my mind how effective SEALs really is.
Yeah.
And it seems like something so basic. Take a knee. Essentially, you're taking a knee.
Yeah.
But if you know why,
just don't move.
If you know why and you really do it effectively, it's next level awareness.
Yep. You got everybody just pinging on 10, just watching.
That's a good point too, is how many people are on 10.
Yeah.
If it's up to just me, I could miss something.
Yeah.
But if it's up to 25 of us, someone's going to catch you. So they killed their medic.
That sucks in multiple ways.
Yep. Yeah, if you're gonna kill anybody on accident, shouldn't be the medic.
Not the medic.
Well, he went out to take a piss outside the patrol base, and then got killed coming back in. So, we were taught in small unit tactics, and likely because of the lessons learned from these combats, is that you don't go to the bathroom outside the patrol base.
True.
We're taught that, and again, we're taught this because of lessons learned from these wars, not because we're smarter than them or anything. So we're taught that our patrol base is here. You dig a hole inside the patrol base, you piss and shit inside the patrol base.
Yep.
And as awkward as it is, you get hella used to it. I've hold on to my buddy's ankles. I've next to my friends. I've in holes watching people do briefs to instructors. You pee and poo inside the patrol base. The last thing you want to do is be in a war zone with everyone heightened, go outside of that, and then hope to God that you gave your bona fides in time, that they even asked for your bona fides before shooting, before coming back into the patrol base. And then also, if you're going to leave the patrol base, even if it's not to piss and shit, whether you're going to go do a recce, you're going to give your gatwa.
Yep.
So that way we know who's going, where you're going, how long you're going to be gone, when you're going to return. And then when you give your gatwa, I'm not just going to say the two guys that are manning that exit point are going to know. As the team leader or sergeant or whatever, you're going to give me your gatwa, and then you're going to give it to the guys holding that. You're going to leave, and then my job is to go around and inform every single person the gatwa. These guys left at this time. They're going to be back at this time with this many people, just so you know. The challenge password is this. Because let's say that our recon element goes out, maybe they get lost, and then they come back at 6 o'clock instead of 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
If those guys don't know that they were even out because you only informed that side of the patrol base, they're getting shot at. So then after that they leave, or even before they leave, you go through and you inform each and every single person the gatwa. And so everyone in the patrol base knows who left, knows what time they left, knows what time they're going to be back, and knows the challenge password so they can invite them back
So
in.
there's no surprises.
You never want any of these surprises. And again, those lessons were learned probably from wars like this and from soldiers that have gone before us. Yeah, go ahead.
I love that scene.
I love this scene. This dude may not like it, but his calling in life is stacking bodies, son.
Yes.
He filled that beach with bodies.
And what I love about this scene is the way it keeps zooming in on that gun.
Yeah.
And it shows that, like, for that night, that was what he did, and that was his beach. Like, he owned that beach, and he just owned that trigger, and the whole time he's on it. But then it also shows the realities of the next day when the sun comes up, and now you're faced with the reality that I made all these bodies here.
Yeah.
Like, these were all living people.
You killed
them
all.
And I snuffed them all out.
Yep. It's like at the end of the day, yes, you want to survive, and yeah, you had to do what you had to do, but you still had to take that many lives. And then
it's one of those things where he's looking, he's like, every person out there is a son, a brother, a father potentially, and it's heavy, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was intense.
That's why I like this series, and this and Band of Brothers. They do a good job of entertainment for one, but also humanizing and making you, like, helping you feel what's going on. And I think this is a perfect scene for that.
I love that scene. I hate how they're like, at first I was like, they're really bad shots. They're trying to put this guy down. And then I realized that they're doing it on purpose.
They're toying with him, yeah.
They're toying with him, trying to hit him in the limbs, and then he goes and puts him down. And it's like, you have to respect your enemy. I can't imagine like disrespecting somebody just because we're on the other sides of the battlefield. And you have to understand that, again, understand both sides of the fence. And they just show that with him, he's like, no, I'm not crossing that line. I understand that we have to do this. I understand that this is a position we're in, but that doesn't mean I have to degrade my morals to completely to this dark side in order to deal with the horrors that we're facing.
Yeah, he didn't want to kill another person again. Like, he's already killed plenty of people, right? He didn't want to do that, but for him, that was a mercy kill.
Yeah.
Taking that guy because he knew what was going to continue to happen, and for him, he's just like ending it right there.
You still got to respect your enemy.
Truth is, you're the lucky one, Sid. You'll never have that nagging thought that you let your family, your friends, and your country down. Because that's what I'm afraid of.
You're up. Bunker patrol, on your feet.
That's it for me. We signed up and we're able to go do that thing so we never have to deal with that nagging feeling of what I have been able to do, what could I have done, what was this my calling? We answered that call. We had the call, we answered the call. Some people don't have the call, and that's totally fine. There's no issue with not having the call. The issue comes in when you have the call and you don't answer it.
Right.
And it was the author of The Alchemist that said, a dream unrealized is a curse.
Yep.
And it's like, if you have the dream and you don't pursue it, it's going to haunt you. If you don't have the dream, it doesn't matter that you didn't pursue it. There's so many people that never dream about going to war, rightfully so. But for those that do, if you don't follow that calling and you don't follow it in the opportunity, when the opportunity presents itself, you're going to regret it.
Yep, that's how I was. The story I told earlier, I was the same way. Like, I put it off for so many years, and I could tell you, like, it doesn't go away. It just gets louder and louder. And so if I wouldn't have done it, I'd still, to this day, probably be wishing, like, or wondering, like, what if?
Yep.
Like, what is this part of me that I missed out on that is now a hole that I probably won't be able to fulfill any other way?
Yep, I had the calling too, and I'm glad that I answered it and went and found out.
Yep.
I around and I found out, baby.
I know other people that, like me, were very similar and they wanted to. One guy specifically I used to work with, and his dad was so against him joining the military that he never did. He did ROTC all throughout high school and college, but his parents were so against it that he never did, and I guarantee you to this day, he's still feeling...
Still wonders.
Yeah, he still wonders.
Yep. A dream unrealized becomes a curse. I don't know if that's the exact quote, but that's the reality of it. It doesn't, if you don't have that dream, it doesn't matter. But if you do have a dream and you don't chase it, it will become a curse to you one day. Because it'll be unfulfilled potential and it'll be unfulfilled hopes and dreams and wishes that could have been something that just never happened. And regret is the hardest pill to swallow of any other issue in your entire life. All right, guys, I hope you liked that episode of The Pacific. We're going to break down all these episodes. As you guys know, well, I'm not always a fan of every show that we do, terminalist, but we're doing our best. And so far, I love The Pacific. I love Band of Brothers, and I love Generation Kill. We're going to do every single episode. So before you ask, just know we are doing every single one from start to finish. So don't worry about it. They'll all come. Whether the order they come in or they're random or they pop in here and there, we are going to cover all of them. So hope you enjoyed that episode. If you got this far, please do us a favor. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. And if not, at least leave a comment for us, because all that stuff helps drive this channel further, which helps us to continue to do this job and continue to put these in front of you. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.